Sifuna abantu bebuso kakhulu. Sisters, is it ready? Dumelang, Sanbonani, good morning. My name is Lerato Maloka. I'm the Executive Mayor of Sedibeng District Municipality. Can we keep quiet, ladies and gentlemen? I will be presiding over this program this morning. Before we can start, first let's all stand and sing the national anthem. Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to acknowledge and greet in our midst our Honorable Deputy Minister Ntate Mahlobo, the Chair of Rain Water Ntate Monyakola, also our DG in the Premier's office and all officials, municipal managers, executive mayors, speakers, councillors. You are all welcome in this Imbizo. But before that, there will be somebody who is going to welcome us in Ekurhuleni. But let me also forward an apology from the leadership of Ekurhuleni. They are delayed in the council sitting, and also the Premier and the MEC, they will be joining this session later. At this moment, let me call upon our DG, Ntate Edward, to come and welcome us in Ekurhuleni.
Thank you very much, Program Director, our Executive Mayor for the Sedibeng District. I want to acknowledge the Deputy Minister Mahlobo, the leadership of our different municipalities led by executive mayors who are in our midst, the leadership at local level by councillors. I want to recognize the chairperson of the board of rainwater and any other water entities that may be represented in this meeting, the accounting officers, city managers, accounting officers and heads of department in the provincial government of Gauteng. Let me also add and say, Dumelang, good morning, Molweni, Sanbonani, Huyemwore, Lochani, Tobe. I'm using all of these languages, DM, to demonstrate that Gauteng is a province of many languages. Gauteng as a central hub, the economic hub of our country, we find all communities in here. As the program director has already expressed an apology for the Premier who is in a meeting with the President, we had to welcome all of you for having taken the time to come to this session. But perhaps you may ask yourself, why were we convened in this manner as all municipalities in the province of Gauteng? As we welcome you to this water summit, we want to indicate and start by saying that I'm sure all of us agree that water is life. In the absence of water, many of us will find it difficult to function. But we also know that water, while we say water is life, and in the absence of water, it would be very difficult to have sustainable livelihoods. We have also come to know that we face as a province, as a country, but across the globe, that we have a potential global risk of water. That's why in 2020, the World Economic Forum identified water security as a priority, that all of us who deal and have to work around the provision of water must make sure that we save this important commodity that we call water. Therefore, this summit is in test a better coordination mechanism on how we will save water, but how we will also ensure that water security for the functioning of our province, for the functioning of our cities, for the functioning of our towns, and for our functioning and the survival of both cities and all municipalities in our province becomes a reality. We know that we are, as a province, but equally as a country, we are a water-scarce country. And in us being a water-scarce country, a water-scarce province, by implication, all of us who are gathered in here, how do we become a water-secure province? So this summit is therefore intended over and above to address this particular matter of how we become a water-secure province. One can then ask, when you talk of water security, what exactly are you talking about? And I want to enumerate a few things that I think would help us guide our understanding as we move forward. When we talk of water security, in my view, and in the view of those that would have written largely about this subject, is that we must ensure as a government that we always provide sustainable access to water to residents of our province. That would be a component of water security. There must be water. The second part is that there must be adequate supply. Because in the absence or inadequate supply, we may also compromise in other areas of life. But the third aspect about a water security suggests that we may and we require to have water of acceptable quality. Because if you do not have water of acceptable quality, we bring many more other unintended consequences in relation to that. Fourthly, linked to water quality, I think it's important that when you talk of water security, we must talk about water that is free from waterborne pollution and water-related disasters. We know that in the recent past, our province, in different parts of the province, we have had challenges in respect of pollution in water. If you were to go to the Vaal River system, if you were to deal with the issues of Rooiwal, all of these are an indication of a need for us to deal and address water, to ensure water quality, but ensure that we are free from all of these levels of related disasters. Therefore, if we take all of these characteristics of water quality, it's important that we therefore ensure an ecosystem that will support proper climate peace and bring political stability. I'm sure we all agree that when there is no water, where water was provided for, it brings political instability. And it is in that context that we have been gathered here to try as a collective, come up with mechanisms through which we will ensure that this natural resource, water, is provided. We therefore, as I conclude, Program Director, that as we come out of this session, we need as a collective to anticipate future demands that would be required in our province, but not only about the future demands, we also have to ensure that we implement preventative measures against the potential looming water crisis that we may find. And it is in that context, comrades, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been convened here to this Gauteng Water Summit as a means of, as a first step towards wanting to address this particular challenge that we will have. It is on that basis that I therefore welcome you on behalf of the Premier of Gauteng, Premier Panyaza Lesufi, as well as MEC Mama Bolo, who will also be joining us shortly in this session, that all of you are welcome and we wish you well in the deliberations. Thank you very much.
Let's give the round of applause to the DG. Thank you so much. You have welcomed us in the city of Ekurhuleni, as you truly made us feel less than strangers. Before I can call the next speaker, I would request the staff from the hotel to give us the safety instructions. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day. I hope you're well. My name is Inieleng Mutapo, and I'm your health and safety officer for today. And with me, I have the emergency response personnel in the form of medics. So I'm with 2 medics, and just right outside, we have an ambulance situated in case of an emergency. And if you require the use of toilets, they're situated right on your left-hand side. So you just walk right outside the exit points, and then there's toilets just right outside, both female, male, and handicap. So in case of smokers, and if you feel the need to smoke, please kindly move away from the exit points. Just go further down, and there's a smoking area down there. That's to avoid any smoke coming into the building. And also, in case of an emergency, kindly remain calm, and please do not be in a state of panic. Please note that there will be an advisor who will take to the stage and also advise you on the exit points and how to exit. So we have 2 exit points on your far right. Those will be your exit points in case of an emergency. And yeah, just the assembly point is also going to be situated just right outside near the parking. So yeah, please have a lovely day. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our sister. At this moment, I would want to call upon our Honorable David Mahlobo to do a presentation as we have altered the program. the MEC, as he will be joining us later during the day. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
The best person to give this thing is Sean. I'm not sure where the DG is. You will assist me. Maybe firstly, I'm going to request that we all stand up. If we can all stand up, please. I'm going to request that we join His Excellency, the President of the Republic, the government, and the people of our country, including our movement, to bow our heads in honor and recognition of one of our finest freedom fighters who fought for our country, for the liberation and justice, who was also involved in putting the building blocks when we were to rebuild our country from the ruins of apartheid. Even at the very same time when our country went through difficult periods of corruption and other malfeasance, we have lost His Excellency, former minister in our cabinet and a servant of our people, Ubaba Upravin Gordhan. At this moment, let's bow our heads. May his revolutionary spirit rest in peace and rise in glory. Thank you very much. You may be seated. To the leadership of Gauteng and the public representatives, especially our executive mayor of the district of Sedibeng, Comrade Leratu, and all the executive mayors that are here from the various municipalities and all our councillors in terms of the positions you hold. To the Director General of the province and all the other HODs that are here and the MMs, to the chairperson of Randwater, my brother, Comrade Myokolo, and the entire board members, supported by the CEO, Group Chief Executive, Comrade Sipho Msai, and the team, to the Director General of our department, Comrade Sean Phillips, Dr. Phillips, and the entire team from our department that is here. Also, the special advisor to Minister Majodena, Comrade China Dodov, is here. He's no longer going to be asking questions in Parliament. We're on the same side now. And those who are here, firstly, let's convey on behalf of the ministry our gratitude to the leadership of the province, led by His Excellency, the Premier of our province, Comrade Panyaza Lesuf, supported by MEC, Comrade Jacob Mamabul, that this decision that the Premier has made to prioritize the question of water, it is a right decision. It's a right decision because water in Gauteng is going to become an impediment on your aspect of social transformation, economic growth, it can also become a question of security threat to your province, Comrade DG. Therefore, as a Ministry of Water and Sanitation, with our own entities, the Water Board led by the Chair and the CE, you can count us in. This decision that you have made by the Premier is one of the things that has caused more problems in our country, where leaders, they choose to do nothing about problems. But the fact of the matter that Gauteng City region, we have chosen to do something. This is the beginning of a journey of 1,000 miles. We are very, very happy. The fact of the matter that most of our councillors are here, led by Executive Mayor. We have brought the people that are the decision makers. And our view, by the time you conclude your work today, probably your attitude and your relationship with water and the imperatives that you must be able to prosecute will change. Because one of the biggest problems around the issues of water is the blame game. It's not my problem, give mayor, give MMC, administrators. No, give rand water, give minister of water. You can't be in a position where you outsource the responsibility to lead. Leadership is a serious task that we must all be in a position to discharge. There is a presentation that we are going to make here. We are going to leave you with a copy. But what we need to understand is that what is the terrain when you meet here today? We are meeting here today that Gauteng, over a period of time, we have not been in a position as municipalities and as government to meet the water needs of our people. There is no municipality in Gauteng that at a particular point has 100% or 99% of the time ensured that the citizens of Gauteng, they get water without disruption. That's the environment. The other environment is that most of your municipalities and communities, sewer is running in the streets and it runs into people's homes. And most of the sewer wastewater systems are polluting the environment. Whether it's artists, whether it's the Val, you can count all of them. We don't look good around the protection of human and the environment. That's the condition. We are also meeting here today. We had actually given you a report. It's called a no-drop report, where in certain municipalities it's not safe to drink water in a tap in terms of the standard of providing water, so that we can use it. There is a SANS 241 that's called the Blue Drop Report. We are also meeting at a time when a number of municipalities, you get to be given water and water is lost in the network. When it is lost in the network, a number of citizens, they don't get access to water. And worse, yourselves, you can't collect revenue because the water is lost. And that water is also stolen by a new phenomenon of a black market in water in terms of illegal connection. But also because the water is lost, because a number of municipalities in Gauteng, a temporary measure of providing water through tankering, it has become a permanent feature. You have a number of water losses. You don't get revenue, a citizen is not happy, there is no water, but there is inconsistency around how these matters are being dealt with. But equally, you owe us as a Ministry of Water and the Water Board, you don't pay us. That's the environment where we meet. The environment we also meet, we are meeting today, our behavior and relationship with water It demonstrates that we don't have a sense of managing this resource in a manner that we understand that it is a finite resource, it can run out. We use water as if there's plenty of water. Gauteng, in terms of the use of water per person per day, the liters, we are actually above the country's average. The country's average is around 273. As Gauteng, we are hovering around 298 liters per person per day. Some of you, we are hovering at 300 liters per person per day. That is unsustainable. Unsustainable. But the world average in the main is around 170, 72, 73, until around 178. That's the environment. You as a leadership, you must make decisions. Out of these issues, there are issues that I can call them subjective or objective factors. One of the things that is a matter that the environment where we are working as a province, one of the issues from a planning point of view, Gauteng, we are our pride as a country, but there are worrying signs because we have not been in a position to master our planning and certain decisions have not been made. Gauteng population continues to grow. In the last 10 and 15 years, last 10 or 15 years, the population growth of Gauteng has been more than 30%. There was a time around 2010, this population, Comrade DG, we are less than 11 million. As we speak, on the statistics that are recent, we are hovering close to 16.3 to around 17 million. And when the population grows, there are two reasons why the population is growing here. One of the reasons, there is migration. People are coming from many parts of our country, but there are also people who are coming from outside our shores. That growth, and is going to continue to grow. Therefore, our investment on infrastructure, on everything, is going to be a key matter. You look at the city, you look at the next growth point, Sedibeng and others, you remain a growth point. And you as leaders, when you meet, when you make decisions around servicing the needs of our people, take the issues of growth of our population. Also the economy of our country, when it grew at a particular point around 2005 until 2009, before the global crisis, the economic growth, especially Johannesburg and its contribution, the GDP of Gauteng has grown very massively. And it has an impact on infrastructure and water and others. What has also happened that we must address today, there has been a lack of investment in infrastructure over years. If we can be able to go through each budget and answer the question, out of all the revenue we get, how much is going to infrastructure, both in terms of CAPEX, which is about capital expenditure to cater for growth and create conditions for investment, because no investor will invest if we can't guarantee the availability of an infrastructure, that asset. But at the very same time, there are serious matters around OPEX, where an old infrastructure has been neglected over years and is overstretched. In some of the municipalities, it has reached a breaking point. When it reached the breaking point, nobody invests. When there is no investment, there is a service delivery failure. When there is a service delivery failure, you can't get a revenue from citizens. Citizens are very dissatisfied. When Comrade DG, you conclude here today, one of the biggest decisions is that You, as a leadership of Gauteng, you have a deficit in infrastructure investment. And what are you going to do about it? And when you make a decision to do nothing about it, the situation will proceed. The other thing that we are also dealing with is the issues of management. One of the problems we have is that in some of the municipalities, issues of governance and stability is a problem. When there is issues of instability, there is no coherence where all people who sit together as councillors, they don't make decisions in the interest of saving our nation, but they quibble about ideologies and other matters. Then the citizen, they suffer. Water knows no ideology. It knows no boundary. Don't put politics in water. Just give it to our people. It's a human rights matter. There is also instability in administration. You know, some of the people you have appointed, especially in our space, they are not supposed to be there. They are not properly qualified. Or even if they are qualified, they don't have sufficient experience or attributes to run some of these. One day we went with the president to a treatment plant. I'm not going to tell you the municipality because at least the president has traveled around your province, Comrade DG. One manager was so good, but that manager was being made to actually drive a car that it does not have a proper license. An infrastructure of a particular size, it needs a particular expertise. Not every person can manage an infrastructure of any size. An example, I can't with a code 8 be expected to drive a truck. And you can't use a code 8 to drive a motorbike. And if that matter of management is not being addressed, you'll have problems. The last two issues of the environment. The citizens of Gauteng must never be left behind. Some of the citizens' behavior, they waste water. Right now, the summer has started. They will be irrigating their gardens with clean water. Those car washes, the water will be running in the streets. They will bath and take a bath for hours. Their toilets will be flushing 10 liters per flush. Don't leave citizens behind. They must change their behavior and their relationship. And it's not a new call. It's something that it has been done in Cape Town. Cape Town, we're not going to go anywhere in the world and learn. We still have to learn, but we have our own examples. You go to public facilities, the awareness campaign that was being run, the issues of the technology and the equipment that is used in terms of water systems, whether it's the toilet, whether it's the taps, and every other thing. That's the issue you need to attend to. And if citizens' behavior through civic education, encouraging them to change, it doesn't change. In your hand, you can use a stick approach. Where are the bylaws? And then you do an enforcement. I thought, Comrade Lerato, Comrade DG, we must give the context to say, what is the environment? The other matters I'm not going to speak in brief. When you talk about water, the first question we must answer is to say where water will come from. And I think one of the most important things that you must know, South Africa is a water-scarce country. But when we look at a water balance in terms of the balance sheet, South Africa is not going to run out of water by 2030. However, we must first indicate there are certain areas in our country where there's a deficit. Not all the areas have sufficient water. There is a deficit in other areas. Therefore, that's why the Minister of Water and entities, we said we don't want South Africa to run out of water. We are actually unblocking a number of major mega projects so that there is water coming into South Africa. Whether we get it from Lesotho, whether we actually build, expand more dams, create more capability, is a decision we've made. But at the very same time, we can't only rely on surface water. There is groundwater we must use. And groundwater must be explored. In Gauteng, DG, there's a lot of groundwater, it's highly polluted. The mining sector have left you with a lot of water. It has a lot of sulfates, it has a lot of heavy metals, and that water must be treated. That's why the issue of recycling, reuse, is an important matter to get more water into the system. In Gauteng, you produce more effluent. The relationship between effluent and how we use water must change. Effluent must be used in such a way that there is a benefit. What do I mean? It must be treated to a particular standard that it can be used for other uses. Gauteng, an example, Rooiwal, we are drinking water in Hammanskraal that is coming from effluent. Because the water from Rooiwal, it goes to Apis River. From the Apis River, it goes to Leeuwkral Dam. The Leeuwkral Dam is a reservoir. That's where we abstract the water. Then we treat it in the timber treatment plant. In Gauteng, Johannesburg, we have the biggest wastewater treatment work called the Northern Works. More than 400 liters gets to be treated there. And that water can be cleaned into a standard that it could be used by agriculture, industries, and others. You can use the sludge, and then so that the sludge can be used for fertilizers. It can also be used for the production of energy in terms of the circular economy. When rainwater comes here, we are just sharing with you how can you get more water, but also get money. Reuse is money. Wastewater is wealth. Because the problem, most of the municipalities are poor when they do have an asset called an effluent. That's what we are saying to you. It demand for water in Gauteng, it has grown. We know now. When the demand in Gauteng has grown due to population growth and economic growth, Gauteng, we are one of having the major system called the integrated Vaal River system. It has about 14 systems inputting into it. Well, the apartheid government gave Gauteng more water on the basis that you were the mining hub. Water comes from KwaZulu-Natal through Woodstock Stem, Sterkfontein, it arrives to the system. It comes from my province in Mpumalanga, it comes and feeds Gauteng. It comes from Lesotho, water comes from everywhere to give Gauteng because Gauteng had no river. It had no dam. That's what the system is. Gauteng as a province, we want to say to you, we are not going to run out of water. But certain decisions must be made. One of the decisions that had to be made was to give you Lesotho Highland scheme. There's a Kasi Dam already supplying the system. Currently, we are working on Polyhali Dam. That Polyhali Dam is no longer on feasibility, it's actually being rolled out. And there were delays, the delays have been unpacked now, and we are very pleased. While I'm speaking about this problem, because I don't want to go through the presentation in totality, Gauteng, please note two issues. Land tour maintenance and schedule maintenance is the right thing to do. If rainwater or the TCTA or ourselves, we don't maintain major infrastructure and do schedule maintenance, we'll have problems. Rainwater at a particular point, about 2 months that are going to be coming in, but actually renewing the existing system. When they were renewing the existing system, we had to do the schedule maintenance. We can't stop schedule maintenance because if maintenance is not attended to, the problems of ESCOM will look like a picnic. It will look like a picnic. I'm not going to explain engineering terms, but that's what I can tell you. One of the weaknesses in Gauteng DG that we must manage is that Gauteng municipalities, they were told on time, they were told to put plans, communicate with your stakeholders, business, NGOs, CPOs, and communities, and be ready to provide water at a particular point. All of them, they said they are ready. When we started with the scheduled maintenance, they said, no, stop it now. You can't stop a scheduled maintenance. We have to mobilize engineers. We have to mobilize everything that has to do with maintenance. Mayors, they started to do something which is dishonesty. Some of them. They started blaming rainwater. It's a value chain. They were not ready. They announced, some of them, they were using tankers, and your tankers were not ready. They were never arrived. Where I come from in Tshwane, the tanker in the dog park was supposed to arrive after 10 at night. How do I go to a dog park at 10? Please note that maintenance is a necessary inconvenience so that the country can move forward. I'm remembering this thing, DG, because from the 1st of October, we are going to shut down the canal from Lesotho. We are going to shut down the canal. When we shut down for the canal for the maintenance, 2 provinces or 3 provinces are going to be affected. Free State, to a certain extent, Northwest, probably to a small extent, Mpumalanga. But for Gauteng, we must tell you we are not going to be affected. The water in the valve system is sufficient. But if there's any change or a movement, we'll be able to bring water from you, from the balancing system. There's a Woodstock Dam that is feeding to Sterkfontein and the other systems that are going to be there. But it does not mean that Gauteng must be negligent, must be irresponsible. We'll only activate that plan when your water availability drops to below 5%. Nimcelele uPremier Comrade DG. That's what we're going to do. It's an important matter, but Gauteng, we wanted to reduce water usage. The other thing that we wanted to indicate for you, I'm not going to speak about availability now. Let's talk about why are you having disruptions. The disruptions, what happened when there are disruptions? In the main, they were caused by the availability of power. Remember, water, electricity, there is a relationship, it's called a nexus. Without water, you can't generate electricity. But without electricity, the water system, the pumps and others, they are not going to work. Therefore, they are mutually dependent, the two. When there was a lot of load shedding, because our systems in the main are dependent on the supply by municipalities, our systems were affected. One day there was a problem of water in Johannesburg, the Enkenhof system. Hey, people bacishe basibulala. Kanti problem was a substation in Orlando that is feeding to Eras. That affected our system. When the electricity was back, the water was back. In other words, electricity availability is an important matter. And Comrade Sipo will talk about some of the decision on how we must insulate the power supply so that there is no disruption in water. And you can't be building a water system that does not have a backup system in terms of electricity. That is from the bulk side. On your side as municipalities, do you know what was your problem? One of the problems you had is that you never had enough storage capability. In other words, we have not invested in the dams in the land called reservoirs. Many municipalities here in Gauteng, your reservoirs are insufficient. They are not equal to the growth of your population. They are not also equal to the growth of your economy. Because if reservoirs, they can't keep sufficient water for at least 48 hours, above 60%, then there's a problem in terms of operations. What do you need to do? Invest more on reservoirs to store more water. Rand Water, as we speak now, we've given them a license to pump more water. They are pumping more than what they are supposed to pump. More than 5 billion liters are pumped per day in Gauteng. 5 billion. Therefore, if you guys, you sit in council, you don't actually agree how many reservoirs you are going to build, we have made a wrong decision. That's the choice you must change to make. Tata Morero in Gauteng, in Joburg, he has started to invest in reservoirs. A good decision. Because in Johannesburg, you know our reservoirs are say Johannesburg, guess what? They were bypassed. You know when you bypass it because they are leaking. When you bypass it, if stops to push electricity, what does it mean? When the electricity stops, there's not going to be any pressure in the system. That's why Johannesburg had a problem. The decision we have made to invest in bulk storage is a right decision. But guess what? Your investment remains inadequate. Because we have a backlog. Mayor Brink, there in Swan, has invested on bulk infrastructure. He's starting to say he wants to build more reservoirs. A good decision. But there's still a gap. Many of your reservoirs, they need to have booster pumps. Remember, not everybody is staying downstream, where we are going to pump water using gravitational force. You must be able, others are staying in valleys and hills, beautiful hills in Gauteng. In other words, invest in pump stations. That's the issue. You don't even know where these assets are. You don't know where is the pipe. Now there is a technology. You can follow this thing even if it's under earth. There's earth sensing technology. You can be able to trace where is the pipe. Trace it. When you trace it, then do conditional assessment. Emfuleni, Comrade Pungane, hey, your people there, they love expanding their families there. They've decided to expand their houses to the fence, ending up encroaching on a line. They are sitting on a main line. In Gauteng, there's a lot of encroaching. And some of the people, they are encroaching on the biggest pipes, some of them more than 700 millimeter diameter. You know, into a 700 millimeter diameter is a big thing. Others, they are kilometers. Usipo has a big ones there, running off a high meters there. Imagine if it explodes. There's going to be a disaster. In Johannesburg today, and in other areas, there's no water. Guess what? The management problem. Your employees, they don't sometimes appreciate a pipe for you to manage the pressure in the pipe. There are valves. It's a management instrument there. And some of your valves, you don't know where they are. And some of the valves are non-functional. The idea of those who are working in infrastructure, don't put someone who doesn't know. Infrastructure is a science. It's an engineering. It's a finance component. And it's a social component. This is where your problem is. And sometimes you don't know how much water you have and how much water you lose. There is a solution. Every point in the network, we must put a meter. Calibrate it. It's a management problem. Put the meter until to someone's home. And the meter must work, it must function. There are many non-functional meters. I don't want you to speak politics today because the problem, DG, is a management problem. The meter does not work. The citizen is very angry. Non-functional meters, the bills are high. You have the relationship between you as a council and them is not good because of the metering system. But guess what? You don't get the money you need because you can't give them the correct bills. And then the system is a problem. Then the other matter I told you, you lose a lot of water. You lose a lot of water. Those are the things that we thought we should be able to say, what are your challenges in the decision? What are we doing as a department? Our role is to ensure that we don't run out of water. In Gauteng, the 42 billion rands investment, 42 billion rand investment in Lesotho is proceeding. Rand Water, they must be ready for the new volumes that they must treat. Rand Water, as we speak right now, 35 billion rand has been put aside. They've expanded their actual treatment system, the pump system this, pump system this. They are increasing them. Eguruleni here, we open one of the best reservoirs. Somewhere in on the other side of the valley, there's a lot of water. In other words, when you live here, one of the decisions we must actually do, every municipality must declare how much money are you putting aside to solve what problem. 35 billion is there. Maybe let me address the question, where will money come from? Because sometimes there's a problem where money will come from. One of the things we must know, we are in a business. Water does not have a social component only. It has an economic component. In other words, water, electricity, these are trading entities. In other words, you sell water. As a ministry, we give you the permission to impose tariffs. In other words, there's a water use charge. One of the decisions that you must make here, the money from water sales must be ring-fenced. You know it. And the money from the water sales, a major quantum of that particular amount must be invested back in water, whether CAPEX, whether OPEX. If you can make that decision, I'll be a happy guy here as a minister. But don't take all the money from the water sales to water, but share a certain small portion for other things in the municipality, because in terms of budgeting, the money does the cross-subsidization. That's the source of money number one. Where is source of money number two? There are people who are poor, they are vulnerable, they are indigent. Our government makes a provision on equitable share so that those citizens, there's a portion for water. That money for free basic services, ring-fence it into the main water account. But fix your indigent register. Fix it. And fix the consumption by indigent, because the government will continue to support social security and protection. The other money, where do you get it? The money from the grant funding. Here we have metros. The metros, we have a USDG, the Urban Settlement Development Grant. And 1/3 of that grant, DG, is it 1/3? No? It must go to water and sanitation, it's 33%. When you as a mayor and as a council, when they come and present the budget, use your glasses through an eye, that lens. Say, where is the 33%? 33% is minimum. Ring-fence it, put it aside. Other municipalities here, we are not metros. We are getting the Human Settlement Development Grant. Where is that portion? Others are getting MIG. Where is that portion? In MIG, 50% must be set aside for water and sanitation. I'm addressing the question, where is man? Where is man? Then the other monies that we could have. Metros, you can have an investment arm, whatever you can call it, but this is the money. Now that money, when it has been ring-fenced, CFOs and MMs, because if the CFO does not appreciate that lack of water has an impact on budget, that CFO must be fired. Must be fired. Because if you don't invest in water, where will you get your money and electricity? Then a decision Gauteng must take, Comrade Dichi. I want the Gauteng to be bold and radical. One of your biggest deficits is on OPEX. Because you have never invested on OPEX over a period of time, we must answer the question, out of all the monies that are available for what? How much money or percentage are we going to take for operation and maintenance? Nationally, there is a mandatory figure of 10%. But I think Gauteng, you are very bold. You can do better than them. Remembering that there is a deficit. These are the decisions you have to make. Do you know if you take money to O&M, what will happen? If I was in your shoes, I will firstly replace all the old pipes, all the valves, the booster pumps, in all the areas that are called industries. Because industries, there is a guarantee they are going to pay me. Then I replace there first, but I talk to them and say, I'm guaranteeing you that your business will have water 99.9% of the time. 99%. But I'm only asking one thing from you. I'm going to give you a correct bill. When I give you the correct bill, we are going to pay me within 30 days or less than 30 days all the time. When there is a 0.01 disruption, within 2 hours, I will have solved the problem, the water will be available. That's what we'll do. The other decision I will make, I will also check the usage of water in Gauteng. There are people in terms of land use management who are lying. They are zoned as residential while they are business. They are stealing water. And if we are at the telemetry or we are doing your proper billing, you can see the spike. In other words, data cleansing is an important matter. Data cleansing. If you don't do data cleansing, just forget it. Then all the affluent areas, now because I know how old is my infrastructure, the technology that I used, I go and replace all of them. When I replace all of them, councillors, they speak to communities. If there's a disruption, this is how we're going to respond. And then you say, I'm going to give you a correct bill. Then they must pay. In areas where people are poor, you don't neglect them. You still go there. You know that the collection rate might not be good. But there are spaza shops there. There are many other small businesses that are there. You speak to them. And then from there, you replace infrastructure and you put meters for every boot. Those who are poor, you tell them in terms of my free basic water, you can't exceed these liters. Maybe you can make a policy. If they exceed in the first month, you can borrow from the second month and the third month, but there must be a cut-off date. After 3 months, you have to put a flat rate. It's a policy matter you must make. That's my recommendation. If really you are serious, you want to solve your problem. Before I sit down, 2 points. There's a problem of implementation. On implementation, there are municipalities in Gauteng and in our country, they love powers. They want to be called Water Services Authority, but they can't perform the function. They are dismal. I'm not going to name them because I see some of their faces here. And I've been there with them. but they still want to keep it. You know what? We have to make a decision. The Ministry of Water and Sanitation, we are introducing reforms. We can't do the same thing and expect the same results. We must change. There is a proposition in the table. It's either we work together and you come to the party, and if we don't work together, we'll intervene. We don't want to take over. The first option around implementation model. Those municipalities in Gauteng and in our land that have no capacity to do the function, in the meantime, call your council meetings. Immediately engage on a Section 78 process of a Water Services Act. Appoint another entity, whether a municipality, that has a capacity to do the water provision on your behalf in the meantime, while you build your capacity. The citizen can't be waiting on the basis of the mediocrity and the failure of an institution. If you can't appoint another municipality, we give you a water board. You can enter into an agreement with a water board. And in Gauteng, you have the best water board in the Southern Hemisphere. Randwater is the best, more than 120 years experience, run by very proficient people. I'm not marketing them, it's a choice. But we are making them to be at your disposal to do the job. Or you create your own entities. Creating your own entity like Johannesburg Water. But Johannesburg Water has very competent people there, is not getting the support it needs. Or you do concessions. You know, in Mpumalanga, kunento twice Lulumans. Go Mirafong, next to Mirafong, there's something called Midval. Go Durban, go Palito, there's something called Caesar Water. Concessions is an opportunity. But then there's a new issue because I know we all love power. Something where you can have a win-win. A win-win where a municipality can have an ownership. But the entity that comes in as a board or whatever has an ownership is called an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, where you ring-fence your water function with your water employees. You create a company that you can jointly own, either with a water board or any other entity, like Randwater is doing. You'll have a capable team, the processes and system and the intent. You don't have an option not to do something. When you rise here today, citizens don't get what? We'll give you a short period to make the decision. But if you make a decision to do nothing, will come. With Comrade Panyaza, I know we'll make the decision. But don't wait for us, we want to help you around that particular model. There is an issue that there is a lot of money in the markets. You know our water boards, they go and borrow money, the bonds in the market. They have a good balance sheet, good governance, everything, work with them. We have a TCTA called Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority that brought Lesotho Phase 1, bringing Lesotho Phase 2 here. TCTA, they are going to form a company now with our water trading entity. It's going to be called the National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency. We're not privatizing water, but we want to understand the issues of taxonomies. You cannot be able to raise whether blue or green bonds in the market and an enabling environment. That's why we're forming an agency. And the minister has tasked me to work on the roadmap on an agency. The agency will raise its own money. Water boards will continue to raise money. But as a department, we are supporting municipalities. We have something called Partnership Office. We're working with DBSA, National Treasury, and presidents, including the World Bank. Most of the problems in metros, we're working with you now to assist you. In other words, when you have a good business plan, good governance, enabling environment, the ability to collect, therefore we're not going to have a problem. As I sit down, you leadership of municipalities, we are owing us money. You owe us money. If I don't say this thing, the teacher will be angry with me. I don't say this thing, Comrade Myokolo will fight with me. You owe us. I don't want to embarrass you who owes us here, but you owe us. I'm not going to show you here because to come to the party, enter into an agreement to pay. You know, water must be paid. It's not that the rain is coming from God. I don't dispute that. But someone must treat the water. We need chemicals. Someone must be able to pay for labor. Some people must work there. Open the system, do this and this and this. And someone must pay for electricity. Water can't be for free. The user pay principle applies. When you don't pay, do you know what it means? We are threatening the viability of the water set. And if our water boards collapses, the right to life, which is right to water, will be affected. I'm happy that most of the metros, we are trying to pay. But we don't want you to only to pay us, but also get the citizens to pay. In other words, for you to have your credit control, your revenue management system, look at the value chain. Comrade Upungane lapha emfuleni. He stabilized the municipality, but he inherited a dead municipality. They are in the ICU. You know, when you are in the ICU, two possibilities. Either you become closer to God, or you can go to high care. And we're trying to pull Umfuleni out of Mfuleni to the land. And the mayor has been working very hard with the councillors, including the coalition partners there. They have worked very well. Mfuleni is getting stable, but it's not an easy task. He loses 72% of the water to the ground, 72. Only 28% is available to be built. Out of the 28%, how much do you get? We don't only want you to pay us, but we also want you to fix your revenue management system and help you to fix the leaks and fix the others. That is the message. We don't want to attach your accounts, but when it comes to the push, you don't make the decisions I've said you must make. We are going to attach the account. When we count, we are not going to use your money. We are going to call you. We are going to help you, hold you by the hand, and say so much came from water, so much came from equitable share, how much are we paying, the historical account and the current account. When we have paid, we say, what are the other things you need to pay? ESCOM, about a day or two, another attachment. Bekungcono ke Bhungane attachwe ithini yabo. Ngathi na besihlala nje nawo sikhulume yabo. But ke your option, you have made a decision. The reason why I'm long is because it's you, it's in your hands. The biggest problem about our country and governance is the decision that leaders, they've made a choice not to make decisions. And when we make decisions, we must know that there are long-term consequences. There is no dustbin for them. No technical director must be without an engineering degree. Not technology. You know this thing of being a technologist? No. No. And those who are managing the assets must be the right ones. And MMs and CFO and MMC financial, if you know your budget, your issues of budget, biggest investment is in infrastructure. Invest in infrastructure, the conditions are good. When they are good, the asset, the condition will improve, then you can sweat the asset. That's our message. And we shall support them. For your failure to do your work, we are going to rebut it. Galeboeg.
We can. Thank you so much, DM, for your wisdom in this topic to ask questions and engage with the rainwater and the DM on these matters. And I hope that accounting officers that are here, They are listening very carefully. But I feel pity to those executive mayors. I think Mayor William, you are also checking, was I correct to come to local government? There are a lot of competing priorities in this space, basic services, it's water, it's electricity, waste, and all. So I think the message was, how do we balance? And the issues of not taking your support and your collaboration with this sphere of government. This is a very cold sphere of government that we need that support. But where the municipalities, where local government need to make a decision, let's make those decisions. I will call upon the chair of the Rainwater to do a presentation before the CEO. And I hope what councillors, you are making notes, ne? I said, you never had this platform with the DM and Rainwater to raise your frustration at the ward level.
The presentation, it's over there, if they've got the right one.
DM, Mashawa, and executive mayors, I just want to piggyback on the protocol so that I save time. I want to say all protocol observed, and I want to proceed with my presentation. My name is Ramadeo Munyokolo. I'm the chairperson of Rainwater. We're going to make two presentations. The one is just to give a high level of who Rainwater is, and then the group chief executive will give you more details around Rainwater. What you see in front of you is a Rainwater board that is appointed by the Minister of Water and Sanitation, led by myself as the chairperson, the deputy chairperson, the group chief executive. That board is appointed on the basis of people being professionals. So we have accountants, we have CAs, we have business people, we have all sorts of expertise that you require to manage an 121-year-old institution like Rainwater. What is our mandate as Rainwater? We were established in terms of, in fact, Rainwater is far older than our shareholder currently. So we are 121 years old, and our shareholder is about 20, 30 years old. I'm not sure how it happened, but you know, our father or mother is younger than us. We are established in terms of Chapter 6 of the Water Services Act, number 108 of 1997. Our primary activity is to provide bulk water services and related. We are a state-owned institution, but we are not funded by the National Treasury. We don't get a cent as Rainwater from national government. To that extent, Rainwater is supposed to generate its own income and is supposed to be sustainable. We provide our water to municipalities to meet the requirement of the Constitution, Sections 27, because water is a right, water is life, and water creates life. We are Schedule 3B, and like any other entities, we are regarded as a business entity. So when our CE, Group Chief Executive, comes here and talk about we are running a business, we must not think that it's because in terms of the act that established us, we are a business, we are supposed to run a business entity. Therefore, the board's responsibility as an entity that does not report, or that does not get funding from government, we have more responsibility because we are running a business, because you don't get assistance, any form of assistance from government in terms of money. So Rainwater is run as a business. So as a board, our responsibility is therefore more than other entities which receive funding. I'm not saying they should misuse the money, but we report to the presidency through our honorable ministry, but we also have relationships with different entities of government, which is the National Treasury, the Ministry, the Auditor General, and our national parliament. 2 days ago, we had a meeting led by our ministry with the portfolio committee, briefing them about projects that we are running as an entity. So effectively, we do report to government on a quarterly basis. We report to the department on the work that we do. And one of the challenges they always raise, DM Mahlobo, is that our debtors' days are going the wrong way. That our debts are going the wrong way. And the CE will expand more on that. So when we report to the ministry, we have certain targets that we need to meet, that we commit to, that we sign for as a board, which are checked on a monthly basis, on an annual basis. As a board, we have identified, because that's our responsibility, a number of strategic risks that we need to make sure that ourselves and management working together as in partnership, we mitigate against those risks. Those risks include, on top of it, that DM Mahlobo has mentioned so many times, is access to electricity or power. Yes, there may be no load shedding, but we still have challenges in municipalities because we get at some point intermittent power supply because of aging infrastructure of electricity. So that's our risk number one. We also have a challenge with encroachment on our pipelines, which the CE will also expand on the pipelines, on servitudes, and on our properties. Just few months, 2 weeks ago, we also had challenges around people tapping into our infrastructure, and our employees were held hostage in the West Rand. So these are the challenges that confront us. Our frame of reference is to work in partnership with municipalities. We work very closely with municipalities and work very closely with other government entities. That's why we had requested the Premier to help us interact with municipality, and that's why we are here today. And that partnership assists us because we realize that our financial health and sustainability is linked to that of municipalities. Therefore, it's important that we partner with municipalities. Some of the challenges that we have, of course, are issues of delayed infrastructure, unpredictable weather patterns. It's also the issue of white-collar crime that we are dealing with internally, and the threat to our infrastructure as an organization. What is the strategic? The board has looked at the risks that have been outlined and came up with 4 strategic goals that we need to ensure that we deal with to mitigate against each and every risk that we have. And one of those strategic goals from the board is that of seeking alternative power source to an extent that we enable the security of water supply to our customers, which is municipalities. So the group executive and the team are working on an alternative power source or other alternative ways to ensure that we have power supply at all material times. We're also looking at alternative water supply. DM Mahlobo mentioned that we get our water from Lesotho and other areas. And we are now looking at groundwater and other water sources so that we are not dependent on Lesotho to provide us with water. So that's what we have to work on. The sustainability of rainwater is also critical, and we look at different areas that will ensure that the organization is sustainable financially and otherwise. And one of the approaches that we have taken in order to ensure the sustainability of the organization and in order to strengthen partnership with municipalities, We have reactivated Rand Water Services, which is a 100% owned entity of Rand Water, to pursue the utility model in partnership with municipalities. DM Mahlobo highlighted earlier on about the concept of a special purpose vehicle, wherein we partner with municipality. We use our balance sheet to raise money in the market, but the municipality is also a shareholder. It has its own board members in that entity, and it's a partnership. So that's how we said that as part of our strategic goals, we will pursue that model, and that model has been presented to government, to parliament, and also to cabinet. It has gone through all the processes within the municipality and the province, and we are running with it now. The CEO will indicate that how that model works when he has time. We also have Rand Water Foundation that we are availing to municipalities, and its focus area is to deal with CSI-related matters that are also related to water and sanitation. We have done a lot of work in many of the municipalities in terms of training people to deal with first-hand maintenance, in particular in Mfuleni, and we use Rand Water Foundation to meet our requirements and assist municipalities as part of our CSI. And I had a premier last time we met in one session. He said he wants us also to assist in renewal of the city centers in terms of infrastructure. If you permit me, Honorable Executive Mayor of Sedibeng, MC, I'll request the Group Chief Executive of Rand Water to come forth and present the operational report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Program Director, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. My name is Sipho Musai. I'm the Group Chief Executive of Rand Water. The purpose of the presentation, or my presentation this morning, is really to unpack and provide details following the chairperson's presentation, but also share with you briefly what are the challenges that are currently characterizing water supply in our province, and say to you these challenges, although they are not insurmountable, but if not dealt with head-on and tackled, we will have a water crisis in the short, medium, and in the long term. We have to act. We have to rise above them. And the latter part of my presentation, in essence, talk about what is it exactly that we need to do to tackle those challenges. But just to add meat into the skeleton that the chair has provided, as Rand Water, we are the oldest water utility in the continent, now existing for 121 years. We distribute water to the municipalities through large diameter pipes. We have close to 3,600 kilometers of those pipes. In the last 5 years or so, we built an additional 600 kilometers of large diameter pipes. We supply bulk water to municipalities, and then I think this needs to be cleared. We play a very critical role in the value chain, but without a doubt, we are not the only player in the water supply value chain. We buy water in bulk from the Department of Water and Sanitation and sell it in large quantities to municipalities. The distribution of water to host households really is the responsibility of Water Services Authority, that is municipalities. So where do these municipalities, where do you get water? You get water from our large dams. We have 60 of them. We call them reservoirs in South Africa because they store clean water. Last year, and then you'll see in the slide, here in Ekurhuleni, we have added the biggest post-tension pre-stress concrete reservoir in the world at 210 megaliters is situated here in Ekurhuleni in a farm called Vlakfontein. So we're not only adding pipes, but from our end, we are adding additional storage capability. As it were, we supply, when we peak, more than 5 billion liters of water to our municipalities. And on average, it's just under 4.5 billion liters of water a day that we're putting into the system, and our area cover 37,000 square kilometers. And this includes municipalities in 4 provinces with a total of 18 million consumers. All the municipalities in Gauteng are supplied by rainwater with bulk water, and then they distribute that water to the households. We also supply parts of Northwest Mpumalanga and the Free State Province. So pictorially, what you're seeing is our area of operation, Gauteng in the main, and parts of Mpumalanga, Free State, and Northwest. Where do we get the water from that we sell municipalities? That water we buy, as indicated by the Deputy Minister and the Chair, we buy water in bulk, what we call raw water from the Department of Water and Sanitation. We pay for all that water. We have no free basic water that comes with equitable share. Every drop that we buy from the department, DM, when he says you are not paying us, it means he's pointing a finger at rainwater and other water boards that need to be getting paid from the municipalities to pay the Department of Water and Sanitation. Here in Gauteng, ladies and gentlemen, it is a reality of the situation that our province was not built around water. All the cities around the world, they identify water bodies and then they build cities. Here in Gauteng, we build this city because we're chasing after gold. At the tail end of the 1800s, gold was discovered here and the city was born. In 1903, then we realized that we don't have water as we were mining. Rainwater was born. We started looking for water bodies here. We started with river water. We looked at boreholes. We started building dams, but it was not enough. The reality of it, the reality of the situation in Gauteng is that you don't have water. All the water that comes from Gauteng comes from, as the DM indicate, Free State, Mpumalanga, and bulk of it comes from Lesotho. That water we get from the Val Dam. The Val Dam that we have is the only major dam that we have in Gauteng. It does not have enough water to go about for all of us. So we buy it from the department, and when we abstract it from the Val Dam, from then we purify it. So we need to understand that and appreciate that the people of Gauteng, we don't have our own water. The river bodies, the rainfall, even if we harvest it, is not sufficient to go about for all of us. That is why we have all these 17 dams. That is why we have all these transfer schemes that are in place, taking water from all the provinces and Lesotho to bring the water in here. So after we get that water, we then purify it and supply. But we cannot, even if we want, to abstract any amount of water as we wish. We have a license with the department. That license limits us in terms of the volume of water that we can abstract, purify, and supply to our municipalities, to your good selves. The license that we have is 1,300 million cubic meters. That is the license we have. Per annum, that is the amount of water that we are allowed to abstract. And that license is underpinned by the National Water Act. It's a law. If we over-abstract as rainwater, yours truly will be sent to prison. It's a law. I'll be breaking the law. That license is 1,300 million cubic meters per annum. Guess where we are abstracting? We are not abstracting at 1,003. We are abstracting at 1,800 million thousand liters per annum. 500 million cubic meters per annum that we are abstracting more than the license. The department has been kind enough to give us a temporary license to abstract at 1,800, but they have said it's a temporary license. You need to bring those numbers down to 1,600 million cubic meters per annum. from 1,300 cubic meters per annum, because they're saying, yes, we're seeing population growth, yes, we're seeing the demand for more water. We cannot give you 1,800, we are going to give you 1,600. So ladies and gentlemen, the reality of the matter is that we have reached the limit of water that we can abstract from the dams. There's no more water that rainwater can give you, because we have reached the ceiling of water. And why is the department giving us this 1,600? They are saying the water, that rainwater we give you to give the municipality is sufficient. It's more than enough to go about for all the population of Gauteng. What is the problem? The problem, as the DM is saying, Gauteng loses physically 33% of water that we give you. When we pick to contextualize the numbers, Gauteng loses 1.6 billion liters of water a day to the ground. Executive Mayor, I'll repeat it, I see you're noting it. Gauteng, on its own, on a daily basis, is losing 1.7 billion liters of water that we give you. It goes on the ground. It's lost. So the department is saying, listen, there's no more water in the catchment. The water that we give you, that we give to the municipalities, they are losing it. 50% of the water that we give you, the municipalities are not generating revenue through that water. 50%. So per capita per day in Gauteng, we supply 280 liters per person per day. 280 liters per person per day. As the DM indicated, the well average, not the standard, the well average is 173 liters per person per day. So before you blame rainwater for not giving you water, let's go through the numbers again. We supply 280 liters per person per day in Gauteng. The well average is 173 liters per person per day. We put into the system more than 100 liters per person per day into the system. What is the World Health Organization standard in terms of the liters per person per day? It says 100 liters per person per day. An individual should go about 50 liters per person per day. Will somewhere give you another 50. It becomes 100 liters per person per day. Guess what yours truly is giving you? Not 100 liters. Not the well average 173. We're giving you 280 liters per person per day. Where does this water go? The water is lost. And we're doing this in an environment, as the DM has indicated, where South Africa, it's a semi-arid area. In an environment where the world is characterized by climate change. The reality of it is that we are a semi-arid area, but any scholar will tell you, as a result of global warming, climate change, the world, and there's an outfit in Germany that measures what you call TWS, terrestrial water storage, the amount of water that the Earth is storing. The Earth is losing 1 centimeter per annum every year. So while you're taking more water, while you're losing more water, the water that we have in the world in total is reducing. That's the reality of it. The world, if you go around, it's not talking about give us more water, DG. It's talking about water adaptation and mitigation strategy, i.e. you need to do more with what we give you. You need to do more with less. Because as it is, the sub-Saharan Africa is getting drier and drier. As South Africa, we are not going to be a semi-arid area. We're going to be a dry area. I grew up in Gauteng. Every single time when I was a youngster, on the 1st of September, it used to rain. And we used to play in the rain. Today is the 13th of September. We have never seen a drop of it. This time last year, the dams were about 80% in the Vaal River. This year, 45%. You don't have water to waste. The integrated Vaal River system is storing 10% less this time last year. This is the water that needs to go about for all of us, because we don't know when it's going to rain. So we cannot, therefore, in an environment of climate change, in an environment that shows that it's getting drier and drier, and the world is losing more and more water, we cannot have the abundance mentality. We need to have a mentality of water use and efficiency. So that is the reality of our situation. That is the challenge before us. We need to do more with little. So after that, we purify water, we send it to the municipalities, we use Mapleton system to supply Ekurhuleni and Tshwane East and all our Mpumalanga municipalities. Aikenhof supply Johannesburg and all the way to Rustenburg. And then of course we have Swartkopies that supplies the entire Gauteng and Parliament systems. Those are the two biggest. So we get water from the Val Dam, we purify it, and we have all these systems that sends water to the municipalities. So put differently, all these lines that we are seeing here is pipes, 3,600 kilometers of water that we put into these pumps. I have built 600 kilometers, large diameter distribution, bulk water pipes into the system in the last 5 years. We are upgrading our infrastructure. We have built the biggest water purification works at 600 megaliters a day, post-1994, built by Rainwater, one of the biggest in the country, and of course in the continent, is here in Vereeniging. So we are adding treatment capacity, we are adding storage, we are adding pipes to supply you with water as part of our mandate to provide you bulk water. So water comes from our pump stations. After we purify it, we then further boost it, and the last top squares that you see at the bottom, these are the reservoir. We leave water in the reservoir, and then you take it from us and distribute it into the municipality. Where does this water go? About 70%, 77%, just under 80% of the water that we put into the system goes into the big metros. The city of Johannesburg takes the lion's share, at just under 37%, followed by Ekurhuleni at 22%, Tshwane 18%, our beloved Mfuleni 6.3%, and I think the fifth biggest municipality in Gauteng is Mogale City. That's proportionally. Mayamaloka, you're looking for, let's say, 0.4%. Yeah, it's 0.4%. Yeah. Good. Mogale takes just under 2%. Our very good customer. We love them. Yeah. So what is the first challenge? Why are we gathered here? We want to share with you the current challenges that we are facing over and above the picture that I've already depicted. We are going into summer. In fact, we're in the middle of spring now. It's going to get hotter and hotter. It's getting warmer and warmer. And guess what the bourgeoisies will do when it gets warmer and warmer? They'll top up their swimming pools. And when they top up the swimming pools, they use drinking water. They will backwash them, and then water will run into the street, the demand will shoot. And guess what you're going to be saying? Rainwater, we want more water. I don't have any more water to give you. So the first challenge is we have high water consumption in this period of time. If we do not implement water use and efficiencies in all the municipalities, we're going to run out. The crisis is coming. That's the reality of it. There's no more water into the catchment. There is enough water into the system. Our way out is to manage water consumption. What we do on a weekly basis, we produce what we call the water consumption figures for each municipality. We consolidate it for Gauteng. The red line that you see in there, I hope is visible from all ends. And I've requested that they switch off the lights because some of them are on top of the monitor. The red line that you see in there, it's where City of Johannesburg is supposed to be consuming water at. Those blue lines indicate that they are over-abstracting. They are overtaking the water that they should be taking. And I think that number is 1,400 or 1,500. The city of Joburg, if you are here, you're already taking 1,700 megaliters, million liters of water a day. So you need to bring that down. If that line that is blue is going the wrong way, you're going to run out because you don't have any more water to give you. That number, those blue lines must come down. And then you could see to the extreme left of the slide that they have the potential to use water throughout summer, throughout winter, below that number. What is happening? Water use efficiency. They're losing a lot of water. So that number must come down for the city of Johannesburg to have a good and a peaceful summer. So if you are Johannesburg, you run out, I have told you, please don't go to TV, what councillors, and say, "Ke rain water." Yes, we hear it. There's another state failed on organization. There's another ESCOM that is coming. I'm putting into the system more than enough. We are putting in the system more than enough. The number must come down. You've got to implement, as the Deputy Minister is saying, efficient water conservation and demand management measures. You cannot be using more and losing more. Ekurhuleni, where we are, same. You can see over a period of time, through one of the best water conservation and demand management measures in the country, that their number has always been around 30%. But in recent times, it has shot up. Here in Ekurhuleni, Executive Mayor, the number must also come down. I know Ekurhuleni needs more water. The reality of it is that we don't have more water to give. The reality of it is that consumption must go into the red line. But if you look very closely, like in all the graphs, there's a green line there. That is where the department is saying we must come into. They are saying we have a temporary license of 1,008. We can go to the red line, but we're going to take that away. And we're going to give you 1,600 megaliters. If you give 1,600 megaliters, you need to move from that blue line into the green line. I hope it's very clear. Similarly, in Tshwane, what we are seeing in Tshwane is consistently they've been above the line. Tshwane needs to bring those figures down. What is encouraging is that if you look at the tail end of that slide, is that I think they're taking at about 700 and odd megaliters. They need to bring it down to 620 so that we get into the number that we all have agreed on. But that number has to go down. And please understand, that number, when it comes down, it does not deprive people water. That water will still be enough at a well-average standard to go about for everyone. Mogale City is sitting at 120, and that number should come just under 250, and further down at 210 going forward. Sorry, that is Mfuleni. That is our Mfuleni. It has to move from 320 to 240. Mogale City is not too far from the red line. It's sitting at 106. They need to go just under 89. They still have to come down. And then you can see, DM, that they have the potential to do so. There are measures that they have put in place to drop that line to where it ought to be. So it's doable. Cape Town has done it. Gqeberha has done it. The big cities in the world have done it. There are cities in Belgium that are going about 50 liters per person per day. Singapore is going around 100 liters per person per day. Cape Town, our competitor, is sitting at 140. They're going to 200. So it can be done. If city of Cape Town, we are better than them, not so. If they can go to 140 liters per person per day, why are we still sitting at just under 300 liters per person per day? It's doable. It's all about efficiency. You have seen when they're going through day zero, everybody was conscious. It was not a rainwater thing. It was not a council thing. It was not a ward councillor thing. It was everybody's issue. I lived in Cape Town, in Parklands. You are not allowed to irrigate the lawn. Not allowed. Because that, at any rate, is an alien vegetation. And as soon as it rains, it turns green. You do not have to use clean drinking water to do exactly that. Merafong, Midval is still above the red line, but they're taking about 30 megaliters from us. Merafong is doing well, below the line. Well done to Merafong. You are implementing water conservation and management. No. The DM says poor service delivery, I don't know.
There are days people in Merafong, they don't have water.
Oh, okay. The DM says there are days before you clap that people don't have water in Merafong. Right, and then what we're seeing here is Ren West. Ren West is below. From water conservation, they're doing well. Mayamaloka, you're not doing well in Lesedi. I think, if anything, from all your municipalities in your district, we're abstracting below, above the red line. I'm sure you will indicate that when the numbers were low, you were the mayor then. So the number is not too far from where you ought to be. What does this mean if you over-abstract water from rainwater? What we do with those 60 reservoirs that we have in place, we store water for you for high peak demands. The red line that you see there is where the storage is. That storage is sitting under 40% as we speak now. That number should be sitting at 60% storage. Where has this water gone? We have taken the water. So if you peak, and if you continue to increase consumption, we have not stored water for you for these peak demands. What we do in winter, we encourage you to drop, and we have sent the letters to all the municipalities. Drop your consumption so that we can store more water, and when you get into summer, you have enough water to go about. But what we have seen, and that is why we have this Imbizo, is that even during low peak demands period, like in winter, the water consumption was still high. So you are going into summer, we have taken the water that we wanted to store for you, you're going to have a struggle. Because what you're going to do, because as the DM is saying, most of you do not have pumping capability. You rely on the head in these reservoirs. The head is low, you don't have a pumping capability. I can tell you now, if not is happening now, in the next few days is going to see high-lying areas without water. Because although we are putting water into the system, we don't have enough head for you, and because you don't have additional storage and pumping capacity, water is not going to reach the high-lying areas. As I indicated, there's not enough more water to put in the system, and then we can't certainly store any going forward. The second biggest challenge, so the consumption has to drop as the first challenge. The second biggest challenge is illegal connections. These illegal connections, do not underestimate them. I have seen, for example, in Tshwane, when Councilor Fosi, the executive mayor, the city manager, and the CEO attacked this, it brought a lot of water into the system. The areas of Soshanguve that were struggling, they are doing much better now because they've attended illegal connections. All councillors, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, you have to walk your wards. You have to check all the informal settlements. Where are they getting water? Unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that they're taking a lot of water. It has to be managed. It has to be controlled because illegal connections are not there to just give people water. There's a lot of wastage in those areas. In some of them, you will think it's a wetland, but it's a water leak, or it's a valve that has been opened for water to be taken illegally. So this is what we are seeing. Vandalism is creating illegal connections, creating a lot of problems. And we are seeing it all the time. All these people that you see that gathered in our valve, that they've broken it, vandalized it, is the reason why in certain areas, across the value chain, that certain areas are not getting water. You need to help. We need to work together. And the Premier has agreed to assist us as Rainwater and the technical departments of the municipalities' water and sanitation to tackle this problem. If vandalism and criminality goes unabated, it's going to add salt into the wound. So this is what you see. I thought I should place this pictorially. Vandalism that is happening. This is the amount of pressure in our pipes. We're not going to talk fatalities here. We're talking lack of water. So this is currently happening in wards. This is currently happening in municipalities. Our infrastructure is vandalized to no end on a daily basis. This water that we're seeing here being lost is the water that is supposed to go into the areas that are already formally connected. Look at the volumes of water with vandalism. It is a big problem. What we are seeing as technocrats, and this applies in rainwater, and this applies in our colleagues, we sit a technical level on a daily basis. We are starting to see that through illegal connections, there are what we call hostile areas. There are no-go areas. We are seeing that when our colleagues, when we want to fix the leaks, we are not allowed to go into certain areas. We need help in that regard. We are also seeing, and I'm making few examples, we disconnect illegal connectors. When we leave, they connect again. These people are living in our society. They're living in our communities. And then we get surprised when water doesn't reach certain areas because of illegal connections. The second biggest challenge is illegal connections. There are hostile areas, we have mapped them. This is just an example in Johannesburg, and together with our teams, we'll make sure that this reaches you so that you can have a perfect understanding if your area has got these hostile areas where we can't go in and fix the leaks. The third challenge that the DM talked about is servitude. We are having a serious encroachment in servitudes, in our servitudes. What is scary is that the illegal informal settlements are building on top of high-pressure pipe. The video that I'm going to play there, this video that is playing here, you see that water gushing out? It just missed one of the homestead there. This is La Mukuku, next to the Mukuku, that's the informal home. If that water had really hit that house, we have been talking disaster. We would be talking fatalities. But it's not only for informal areas. Formal areas are encroaching. And if we have golf courses that are encroaching in our servitude, we have a bigger problem. We need you to assist us to remove these formal settlements, informal settlements, away from our pipes, because we can't refurbish them. We can't fix them. We can't do anything to those pipes if we have challenges. And this issue is very serious. We're talking death. We're talking fatalities. Just recently, you'll see there in the slide, in Durban, in eThekwini, we have had people that were living, informally living, encroaching our servitude that have died. So we're talking fatalities. We're not talking inconvenience. We're not talking days without water. We're talking serious fatalities. So illegal connections is the third biggest problem. The fourth biggest problem is illegal mining, particularly in the West Rand area. Just last week or 2 weeks ago, our employees were held hostage, because what we were wanting to do is to fix the leaks so that water is supplied. This is not a leak. This is the water that they have themselves and really highly weaponized, gone into our pipes, broken them down to use the water that's supposed to go into the municipalities for illegal mining. We are raising these things sharply because it does affect, albeit a lawlessness issue, it does affect water supply into the municipalities. So we have illegal mining that is taking place in Gauteng, and it needs to be attended to. The last one, the biggest challenge, the elephant in the room, thank you, DM, credit management. Firstly, we need to talk about this issue. What we have been told is a busy slide, but just focus on the dotted line that is pointing upwards. We have gotten a lot of challenges, particularly in 2023. Rainwater is not giving us water. We are giving you water. We are giving you more than the budget. We are giving you more than the 1%, 2% that you request. And in fact, in 2023, you'll see in that blue solid line, we provided more water than what is budgeted for. But the reality of it is that this water has to be paid. The issue is that rainwater generates 22 billion per annum. And the municipalities that take the most are the ones that contribute the most in terms of our revenue. So the business model is simple. We give you these volumes that you order. We need that revenue. What do we do with that revenue? We buy chemicals. We buy water from the Department of Water and Sanitation. We pay electricity. And some of this electricity, we get it from the municipalities. In terms of our electricity bill, City Power can confirm, Ekurhuleni can confirm, we pay them 30 days without fail. Eskom can confirm we pay them 30 days without fail. So we need that revenue to pay our costs, but we also need to be profitable because we need to have and generate cash from our operations to refurbish our infrastructure, to maintain it. We also need to have a strong balance sheet that comes from an income statement into our balance sheet to be able to go into the capital market. We are Johannesburg Security Exchange, debt-listed company, to raise bonds, to get long-term liabilities, to build long-term assets for you to get more infrastructure. The infrastructure that we're talking about in terms of the pipes, in terms of the purification works, and certainly in terms of the reservoirs that I've talked about. So what we are seeing is that progressively accounts receivable is going the wrong way. Few years back, 2024, our beloved municipalities used to pay us 35 days on the dot. We are talking now 93 days. When we closed the year, it was 110 days. So in other words, after we give our municipalities water, supposed to pay us after 30 days, they pay us 3 months later, which is 4 months after supplying water. It is not sustainable. And if it's not sustainable for us, it means it's not sustainable for you in the long run, because we are the one that supply you with bulk water. So you need to keep these water boards, particularly rainwater, going so that we can have water supply going forward. So here we're talking about, yes, debt collection. We do eventually collect, but it's too late. And it affects our balance sheet, as I indicated. But what is also important, that there is this 2.5 billion rands that we have to take away, and it erodes our balance sheet. It makes our balance sheet weaker. So we have in total municipalities over 7.5 billion, about 3 billion of that. We cannot put it and account for it in our balance sheet, and therefore we are left with 3 billion in terms of our account receivable. It makes our balance sheet weaker. As it makes our balance sheet weaker, it's going to be difficult for us to borrow money for long-term assets to supply you with water going forward. So we need to deal with the debt. As rainwater, because we understand that our municipalities are going through difficult economic hardships. There's no doubt about it. We know what is happening in the economy. We have put together what we call debt relief program. This is a suite of packages where we are saying, right, you don't have to pay everything, as an example, after 30 days. Pay 60% after 30 days and the remainder in the next 15 days. So we have extended payment periods from 30 days to 45 days because we understand the hardships. We really would like to encourage municipalities that are grappling to come forward and get this thing contractually. Do not make a decision on your own that you're going to pay 60-40. It is important for you to get in the debt settlement agreement that the DM has talked about, because the benefit of that as well is that if you owe us money, we have to, by law, by accounting standard, charge you interest. But if you have arrangements in place, we are not going to charge you interest, because interest that you will incur as a municipality is fruitless and wasteful expenditure. We all don't want that. So we want to really plead with our municipalities around that. Please make an effort to liaise with us to get into our debt relief. We want this money, as I indicated, because we need to be globally rated by credit agencies. Like you, I don't want a qualified audit outcome because of that. We also want a clean audit, like some of you. But I can't get a clean audit if you owe me these amount of monies. So it is a big compliance issue, and as I indicate, we will not be able to provide water. DM, we don't like to curtail. We don't want to curtail. Chair, we don't want to take anybody's account. But in terms of intergovernmental relations framework, it says we must go that route. We must follow the PAJA, we must engage, beyond which we must approach the court of law. And part of that, it's law, it's not us. Because we have a responsibility, fiduciary responsibility, like all of you, to make sure that rainwater is sustainable. So eventually, if we don't honor the debt settlement agreement, we have to go through a process that ensure that we recover the debts. So as I conclude, what is it that we want from you? I've talked about the problems. What is our way out as Gauteng? 2 areas. 1, we have to reduce consumption. We have to manage consumption. It has to go down. And 2, for us to continue to give you water, you must pay rainwater. So we have short, medium, and long-term credit management action plans. The first one, settle the account. If you can't settle the account, please get into a debt settlement agreement. Otherwise, we follow the process of debt recovery. In the medium, in the long term, what we have done as rainwater, we have started what we call water conservation and demand management measures, a fund. Through this fund, we are charging you 1% more than the actual tariff. We want to ring-fence it so that we can give it back to you, and then you augment it with other sources to deal with water conservation and demand management. So we are not saying just reduce water. We are saying we have this innovative way of generating some fund from your tariff, put it aside, give it you back to deal with water conservation and demand management measures. What we are also saying in the long term, and then we are having this model that we are rolling out with Mfuleni, where we are saying collectively, let's find a way of dealing with non-revenue water, collection of debt, but most importantly, investing in the infrastructure to upgrade it, to refurbish it. We are currently in Mfuleni sitting with a vacancy of 76%. We are going to improve that. We are raising money. And Chair, this time last year, Mfuleni will not be a laughing stock. That physical losses majority of 60%, we're going to reduce it. That non-revenue water of 73%, we're going to renew. We're going to reverse it. So we have found, Executive Mayor, a model that we are working with our municipalities to be part of the solution, to say how do we turn around our lot. So it's not a rainwater SPV, it's a special purpose vehicle between the municipality and rainwater. And guess what? Because the private sector is happy with the governance structure, because this thing is going to be an entity on its own, professional board, run by a professional chief executive or MD, with professionals, right people in the right place, and then the municipality sit at the board, whoever they nominate, and they own shares in this SPV, then the private sector also is interested to come in. Already from rainwater point of view, the board has provided an odd billion rand in our balance sheet to contribute towards that. We are launching this in October. All systems go well. We have a few ticks and boxes, or boxes to tick, and we are on our way. It has the support of National Treasury. National Treasury is excited about it, and they have indicated that they will also help with equitable share, MIG, and other sources of funding into the SPV. Our own Department of Water and Sanitation is also making a contribution from bulk point of view. And for now, they are also assisting with O&M for the short while DM. We hope it will continue, Majoro, so that we turn around water conservation and demand management issues in the municipality. Oh, yes. The model is about this. Yeah. Yes. I think the concern is that are we taking all the revenue from the municipality? No. We know that the municipality is the second biggest, water and sanitation is the second biggest revenue spinner in the municipality. What we as a SPV are going to be declaring dividends into the municipalities to cover other expenses that are not water related, because municipalities, they also cross-subsidize through water other services. So the SPV is not going to deprive the municipality revenue in total. We're going to deal with the Kolota Tarona. We're going to pay this rainwater, take them out of the way. We're going to deal. So the other issue is DM is that the municipality still own the assets through the SPV. So they are not losing their assets. Somebody was asking, are we weakening the balance sheet? No, we are actually going to strengthen the balance sheet, because the current balance sheet in many municipalities is not worth anything written on. So we're going to be raising capital to invest in the balance sheet, and in that way, we are strengthening the balance sheet differently. So I think we have a detailed presentation, time doesn't allow, on the SPV and the finer details and the innuendos. And I'm very grateful that it's got the support from national government. As the chair is indicating, it's got the support from the cabinet. But most importantly, it's got the support from the municipality, from the councillors, from the mayor, from the MMC, from the mayoral community, and the people of the Vaal, because this is going to be owned by them. It's one of the best, and we believe is an innovative way to solve water and supply challenges between public sector and public sector institutions, to a point where nobody's saying private, public. No, the private sector is the one that says, can we work with you? Can we bring the money? We like what you are doing. So we hope and wish Mfuleni and Renota Services all the best with the SPV. What do we need to do now in terms of this period of high water consumption? Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, we have to impose restrictions, at least level 1 restrictions. We have to take those decisions because we need to tell our people that there's enough water to go about. We are going as council, going to fix the leaks, but we need your support. The level 1 restrictions are not punitive. They are what I call water conservation and demand management measures. And these have been permanent in other cities such as Cape Town. You need to water your garden after sunset and before sunrise. What is this thing in Gauteng that have sprinkler systems running 24/7 in the middle of the day? When water does not even go to the lawn, we lose it through evaporation. We recommend that we must impose water restrictions. We must stop using public facilities, irrigate them with clean drinking water. We do not have that luxury. We need to conserve the water that we have. So we are proposing no washing of the cars during the week. No, only weekends. In Cape Town, you are cool if you drive around with a dirty car. If your car is dirty, you are the coolest person in Cape Town. Because what it says is a statement, and it starts here. No car washes during the week. Only. And the car wash, where you take your car, you must ask them, are you recycling water? Car washes, however small they are, they can and they should recycle water. It's doable. It happens everywhere in the country. Everywhere in the... Yeah. And you must use a bucket. If you want to use and wash your car only over the weekend, use a bucket. What is this thing of a hose pipe, clean drinking water on top of a car, and then you leave it there? You don't have that luxury. It's not happening anywhere in the world except in Gauteng. We need to stop that. And it's not punitive. It's adaptation, it's mitigation measures. Climate change, we don't have enough water, and then we have reached the limit. We believe that all the leaks, before we blame our people, before we are told, because that's what the people are going to say, Executive Mayor, but we have all the leaks here. You are telling us that we should not wash it. We have all the leaks. The leaks in the municipalities have to be fixed within 48 hours. Otherwise, you're not going to win the battle. They have to. Otherwise, you're going to make it difficult, councillors, for you to go and explain to people what they need to do. We have to fix the leaks 48 hours after they have been reported. So that is important. Otherwise, we're losing 1.7 billion liters of water that we should be giving our people. And lastly, operationally, illegal connections. We need to walk our lines. We need to disconnect illegal connectors. If they want water, they must follow the right process. They must go into urban planning to make sure that they get water the right way. Everybody has got the right to basic water, but you cannot illegally connect. You have to follow the right processes. So we need to discourage that, but ensure that our people get water the right way. So there are other operational prayers that we're recommending: encroachment, pressure management, communications. Together with the Premier, we are going to be rolling out a big communication problem. Vandalism has to be attended to. We need to sort out electrical infrastructure to ensure that water is continuously piped. We have already, as Rainwater, written to the Ministry DM to say that license, please don't reduce it to 1,600. Please keep it at 1,800. We understand the challenges, but there's no way that we can go to 1,300 million cubic meters per annum. So in short, what am I saying? What is it that are the things that we need to do now so that we don't have the problem of water supply in the next few months. Impose restriction, stop irrigation of public places, repair leaks within 48 hours, disconnect illegal connections, and pay your water bills to rainwater in time. In the meantime, we'll pray for the rain. Bula.
Thank you very much, the chairperson of Rainwater and the chief group executive. Councillors, I think, okay.
I'm just responding to Comrade Sipo here, the DG is here. If we keep this license for rainwater at a particular level, it's conditional. There must be a plan to come down. If there is no plan to come down, do all the things that Sipo says, we must work together and fix them, will be irresponsible. Other people will run out of water. By the time you leave here, conditionally over a period agreed with a concrete plan, we can support that.
Thank you so much, JM. I think mayors that are here, I think the SPV model is one thing that we need to look at. And I'm extending an invite as a district mayor for the launch of Mfuleni. It will assist us on issues of capacity and how best can we run this section here, Yameti. More than what the DM has indicated, before National come into our space and say, you are directing you this way, I think let's take this opportunity and see what is it that can work for Mohale, what is that can work for Lesedi. That's the reality, unfortunately, that we are facing as local government. On that note, councillors, this is an Imbizo, and I would want to give ward councillors an opportunity to reflect on the two presentations that have been made by the Rainwater and DM. Moreover, we have heard their prayers. We have heard their prayers and other inputs to work better with Rainwater in making sure that we do save water in our communities. And also see the services that we are providing. Is it paying back to our municipality? I will firstly want to check those who would want to reflect on the presentation. I'll start this side to note hands. Those who want to raise to reflect on the presentation, okay. I'll start, you'll be number 1, sir. At the back, number 2, number 3. You can lower number 3, number 4. The extreme, yes, will be number 4. Number 5 will be at the last one that is this side. We are still on the first row. Let's take hands this side. Yeah, there are 5 this side. Let's note hands this side. I'll start with you, Councillor Marian. 1, 2, Mayor. 3. Hey, let's do this. Can we first start this side? So that, because there are a lot of hands that are coming this side. Can we first start with this row? Number 1. We'll come back.
Can I fix this?
No, we'll come back to note hands. Okay. Oh, councillors, if you don't mind, because we are many this side, can those who raise hands to come and stand in this row? Let's start here. Councillor Mariana, you are number 1. Just stand. You can step that side. We'll have the second row here. Can officials assist us? Yeah. No preambles, not straight to the question, to the comment. Can I note hands in this row, the second row? You'll be number, yes. Okay. Same applies to the third row. Can I note hands? And you can just stand close to the mic. You'll be number 1. Aibo, Mariana, why are you moving this side? Oh, there's no mic this side.
No, they
Oh,
can use,
okay.
or maybe let's just use these 2 rows.
Yeah.
Or Bayakam.
Yeah. You can move this side. Ma'am at the back. And the last 2 hands at the back. You can join the row.
All right.
2 minutes each.
All right. Thank you. I'm Councilor Shane Mars from the city of Tshwane. Some of my comments are directed to the Deputy Minister as well as to the CEO of Rand Water. Starting with the Deputy Minister, I find it ironic that in your statements you speak about the Oppies River and Hammanskraal when Hammanskraal isn't even supplied by Rand Water, it's Magali's water. So let's keep it within the scope of what we're talking about here. In terms of water purification, the Vaal River is known to be probably it's polluted beyond means, much by Imfuleni and what's happening in Vereeniging. Why did it take so long for government to step in and assist Imfuleni to start turning around? Rand Water speaks about Vlakfontein, the 210 megaliter reservoir that was built. But there's also Vlakfontein 1 and 2. Now, I was there on site with the Deputy Minister where an official told me that Vlakfontein 1 and 2 are leaking like a sieve. There's no meters running into Vlakfontein 1 and 2, and there's only a meter running out of Vlakfontein 1 and 2, and you don't know actually what kind of losses you're getting there. Is Vlakfontein 3 in use? Is Vlakfontein 1 and 2 in use? Please, if you could answer me that. When pipes go dry, Rand Water has a duty to supply the cities 100% of the time. When pipes go dry, they relax, and when water is reinstated, the pipes don't fit back together as they did previously, and leaks happen again, and the municipalities are back to square one with regards to leaks. So that's critically important that Rand Water continues to supply the cities 100% of the time. Load shedding started in 2007. Now, in the last year, we had many blames put on load shedding and why Rand Water couldn't purify enough water and things. But since 2007, what has Rand Water done to make themselves more resilient to load shedding?
Okay.
Okay, and finally,
2 minutes.
this is a final
up.
request.
Yeah.
Please, if Rand Water could share the reservoir levels of the purified water. I see on the website, on the Water Affairs website, that we've got the levels of the dams, but we need some transparency in terms of what the levels are of reservoirs like Vlakfontein, so that we could, as councillors, be preemptive in warning our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go this side. Yes, ma'am. This side. Oh, we only have one mic. Let's go on in the meantime. Go ahead.
Okay, just 2 questions because you gave us 2
I'm
minutes.
trying to manage you this way so that you don't all stand, but continue.
One, just the last point, Deputy Minister, in terms of the licensing and the reality in terms of, how much is being abstracted, standing current at about 1,100 million cubicles, and the license it's just above 1,300 million cubicles. And the interim license, is just above 1,600 million cubicles. I'm just trying to establish either from Rand Water and or the ministry itself to say, what are the implications, as it relates to forcing Rand Water to abstract at a particular level, apart, from having the concern that we don't have enough water in terms of supply? Does this mean that we are running a risk very soon, for the different municipalities not to have, sufficient water. I'm just trying to establish that that's the first point. And secondly, in terms of the presentation from both the ministry and Rand Water, there is a clear indication that it's getting worse as it relates to the issues of damaged, infrastructure, whereby people are trying to get water illegally, being, informal settlement and other areas. What is the support available to municipalities from the ministry and also from Rand Water? Because if you look at the impact of that, that could easily deplete, the budget of the municipality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's keep them brief. Yes, let's go ahead this side.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning.
It's afternoon already.
Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
I'm Councilor Mariana Creer, and I am from Midvaal, Ward 12, the best municipality in Gauteng. So, in my ward, I have the Rand Water Pompies station, which I call Swart Koppies. And first of all, I just want to compliment the management because I have the contact details of the people who do the repairs. So when we are driving around or people report anything to me, I call them and they come out immediately and they will keep me updated and tell me what is happening with the water leaks. So thank you very much.
Well done,
I
Rand
feel
Water.
that all councillors should find out.
Well done, Rand Water. Well done, well done, well done. Let's get to the point, Councillor.
I feel that all ward councillors at least should know one person within their supply chain of water who deals with water leaks so that we can stop the water leaks. The other point I want to talk to is the recycling and reusing of water. A lot of the municipalities and other entities like big companies say they're doing recycling, but we don't know where the water's going to. And a lot of the municipalities, their water doesn't come out potable or clean enough to go back into the system. My main thing that I want to bring to the attention of Rand Water specifically is the Kliprivier and the Rietspruit. The Kliprivier runs from Soweto all the way to the Val Dam, and the Rietspruit runs from Germiston, which meets with the Kliprivier in Kliprivier and runs to the Val Dam. These two rivers are highly polluted, so polluted that when a child fell in the river about 2 months ago, the police divers and all private divers refused to go into the river to search for the child. Sometimes our river comes down as black sludge, and sometimes our river comes down as foam about 40 centimeters high. So if that can be addressed at somewhere, because even the animals that are drinking from that river are dying. Then the last thing I want to address is to every single person here. We can all conserve and reuse water. I am fortunate that in my house, my 3 water pipes run, my refuse pipes run together. So my bath pipe, my sink, and my basin runs to one drain. So what I've done is I've connected all of these together and I started a garden. So my wastewater runs to the garden. Only the toilet runs into the septic tank. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor, for the solutions as well. Easy make, homemade solutions, it can be done. Let's go this side. Councillor?
Good morning. My question is a very quick one. I'm Councillor Mike Tutoy from Ekurhuleni. We've been given a hell of an overload of information this morning that is very, very important to have, because all problems, I believe, get solved with basic intelligence, and intelligence is all the statistics. Are we going to have a copy of that presentation sent to every single councillor? Because I think it is absolutely essential that councillors appraise themselves of those statistics and those facts, because if we don't have them, we can't speak to people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mike. I think the decision was yes, they will be shared, so you will receive, as long as can I determine that there has been a registration desk as well, that you have attached your names there. If not, we will, through the offices of the mayors, all these presentations that were done. Yes. Thank you very much. Let's go this side.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ronald Harris, Councillor in the city of Johannesburg. My congratulations to the DM Thank you so much for an in-depth assessment of what is carrying on and what is going on. I don't think there's a crisis in water. I think there's a crisis in capacity, there's a crisis in commitment, and there's a crisis in caring about the water situation. We are not invested emotionally in the supply of water to our citizens. I think what stood out for me was the issue of the square pegs in round holes. What also stands out for me is the fact that we are working in silos. Rand Water works on its own, Johannesburg Municipality works on its own, and there's a case in Ward 82 where there's a pipe that has been broken for over 2 months. It's flooded a whole football field. And as we speak, there's a pool of water and it's just causing destruction, and nobody is responding. No senior managers respond to emails. No technical people are available. I think it's really atrocious. But what I'd like to just say is this here. We've heard quite a lot, and I'm grateful for this education. But what exactly is going to be done to talk to the stakeholders, the people on the ground, the communities that are wasting this water, that are being blamed for the technical losses? What is being done to educate them? And I would love to see some kind of a plan, a multi-million-dollar rand public relations plan to speak to our people about the importance of conserving water. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Civic education on water saving. Let's go this side.
Thank you, Chair. Just a comment for Rand Water. Thank you for a brilliant...
It's Councillor who?
Sorry, Councillor David Farquharson from Tshwane. Thanks for a brilliant presentation. I just want to say that I would expect to have seen SAPS here, because some of the biggest problems you've got are vandalism, criminality, illegal mining, and particularly in the city of Tshwane, everybody is stealing water meters for the metal. So if Rand Water would please join in the Mayor's plea to have copper declared a precious metal, and so that no further trade in copper and aluminium can happen, because we are now having fire hydrants stolen because of the copper inside. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor David. I think it calls for a consolidated and collaborative effort. We take note of that. Let's go this side.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Vusi Mabena, City of Tshwane. Maybe firstly, DM, let me just inform you, just this week, the Palesa mine, through your, I'm here, DM, I'm here. The Palesa mine, I'm here. The Palesa mine, and through your efforts, an intervention during the time when we were at the water crisis in Bronco Spruit, City of Tshwane, Region 7, they came through with the donation of the new motor. That as a city then, we could not buy that motor. And your intervention that time has yielded those good results. But again, the issues of the swimming pool, one has mentioned that bourgeoisies, I think the CLO mentioned the bourgeoisies. Sometimes we find that we become victims of those bourgeoisies through filling of their swimming pools and so on. It same applies to the farms. When you find that there are dam catchments in the farms that are not able or to be released into the what you called the water beds, what is that, the river bodies. As a result, not leading to where we've got water pumps. What is our intervention there, Minister? I know that in terms of either the Environmental Act and so on, we do have, but it's as if we are not doing much policy. We're sitting with a lot of pockets of farms that have stored water in their dams. Fine, they might do that for agricultural purposes, but somehow we need to also share through those streams. Lastly, Chairperson, from my side, I also want to speak to the frustrations that we had in Tshwane, and also congratulate what the DM they've done, because of they came through Tshwane. It took them close to, I don't know how many years, to assist us in Hammanskraal. But we have had the intervention, and that intervention has now led into an MOU that was signed under duress. It was like the city of Tshwane was forced into that MOU. So I want to check with the MEC as to whether, with the DM, what were the frustrations, or what sort of frustrations are you coming across as the national office and provincial office, as and when you want to make interventions and assist, but the cities are not able to, they don't want to cooperate and participate, meanwhile people are suffering. Those are my two inputs that I wanted to make for now. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Vusi. Let's go this side.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Michael Ndlovu, Councillor from Ward 73 in Tshwane. DM, you've explained all the capex part of the issue of saving water. But there's one thing that you don't attend. The issue of reticulation, more especially in the cities, it's a problem. Water reticulation. Most of the systems there have collapsed. For argument's sake, DM, you are building a very beautiful plant there in Amanskraal to supply people of Amanskraal with water. But we have a crisis of water leaks. You've given presentation, but you've never told us as to how are you going to intervene on fighting leaks. We are just brushing them like in passing. The problem that we have that is wasting our water, it's water leaks everywhere, whether you like it or not. If you don't deal with water leaks, the reticulation part of it, you can invest in a reservoir. But if that system, wherever the water must go, and then there's serious leaks, then we're going to lose a whole lot of water. So meaning, these mayors of the cities where we are, they need to prioritize the reticulation part of it, water leaks. And you've never included the young people in your presentations. There's chivets where you can draw young people to come and help with these water leaks. You spoke about capacity, skills and everything, but you are not speaking about the future. You've never mentioned anywhere, how are you bringing in young graduates and staff to help us with these problems that we have? Well, I've never heard anywhere in your presentation you spoke about that. And then it's a crisis and you need to assist it. Remember, they are the future, they need to prepare the future. Send Kogile. So you need to in young people and trust in them. You involve them in these things. Because of, if there's a crisis of water, we're going to have a water crisis in the future. Why are you not working with young people to deal with these issues? You mentioned kawashis, the chairperson. Kawashis, they need to recycle water. Come on board, assist them. How are they going to recycle water? You need to help them. I'm glad Rent Water is doing a great job in terms of a community involvement, in helping NPOs and everything to build boreholes and things like that. But also, when you have problems, give us solutions and involve young people in things that you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mike. Let's go this side.
Greetings, Chair. I think partly I'm being covered by some of the speakers, but I just want to raise one thing.
And who's the councillor?
I'm coming that side. By the way, it's Councillor Wanding Kabinde from West Rand at Mirafum.
Okay, Councillor Kabinde.
Yes. Mine is just one. I just wanted to check with yourself that what are the measures, support or intervention measures that are in place with relation to the local municipalities that are actually having long disputes with the mining houses, as these actually disputes are having also a negative impact with relating to issues of credit control and credit management. I'm raising this in a context that these disputes have actually taken for years and years. If I'm not mistaken, this has been over 9 to 10 years having to resolve this particular element of dispute with the mining towns. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Ngabinde. We'll deal with that. Let's go this side.
Good afternoon, Councillor Nompumelelo Mazbugo from the City of Johannesburg. Thank you for the in-depth presentation. I think civil education is very key because we still have consumers. In a sense, we call them consumers because the level of generating of income from our residents is quite low, which then affects the city directly. Yes, it's good to be building new reservoirs and everything, but we must acknowledge we have a very aged infrastructure. That's the leaks and everything. I mean, for an example, we've got reservoirs that have got leaks that, you know, even just trying to let it, they've then Johannesburg Water will then do what they call a bypass. And then when you really want to, you can't decommission a reservoir, but if you need to then put it up, you are probably losing about 300,000 of rands worth of wastage of water. But equally, we need to then find a way, how do we then balance the aging infrastructure with the new infrastructure, not having to affect the community of not having water. Right now in the city of Johannesburg, we're sitting with a lot of areas that are not having water because of the aging infrastructure. But what we've also kind of not taken into account, how do you then deal with the water tank mafias? Because that is another issue that we're going to have to address. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nompumelelo. Let's go this side.
Thank you so much. First of all, Lornette Joseph from City of Ekurhuleni. I would like to welcome our mayor who arrived while the address was being done. So welcome, Mayor, to today. I just want to ask a few questions, if I may. First of all, I do think that communication needs to be better when it comes to the levels of the reservoirs, because as ward councillors, we're expected to know that, but we're not always given that information. And neither is the city. So just as an example, in Benoni there are 2 reservoirs, of which one is only operational, the other one is sitting empty, but we can't find out why it's empty. And also Vlakfontein 3, I was at that wonderful launch and all that nice food, and we were told it was going to come online, and it's still standing empty. Now, if Vlakfontein 3 is actually in operation, our residents in Davidson, Itwatwa, Mayfield will not have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to stand and wait for a water tanker so that they can get water. I would also like to ask that the Minister please engage with the DMR and with the Minister of Police around these zama-zamas, because in Benoni alone, we have approximately 7,200 people residing on top of one of the mines. And they have gone and broken the infrastructure so that they can use the water to clean their gold. So please make this a project that is across the whole national government. In terms of water tankers, I would also like to ask, I understand when we have water outages, Ekurhuleni will water tankers, but when Rand Water is putting a outage, like we just have, is Rand Water also compensating the municipalities for the amount of water tankers we're having to now supply, which is maybe something that wasn't budgeted for originally? A normal water tank will cost anything in the region of 12,500 Rand per trip. And during that crisis, we had a number of water tankers that were going around. And unfortunately, our meters, and we're charging people for air going through them. There needs to be some sort of solution based around that. And finally, I would like to encourage, I see a lot of my colleagues have mentioned it in terms of water saving issues and things like that, but I think we also need to educate our residents across Gauteng in what they can also flush down toilets. Because I know that is a big thing from Rand Water's side, that they are having to go out and there are carcasses and there are fetuses that actually get that water clean. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all of those comments, questions, and suggestions. Let's do it this time.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Peter Sutton, Ward Councillor at City of Tshwane. And I appreciate, I listened intently to the presentation from Rand Water and ring fencing of that, but we also need to understand that the tariff needs to cover fixed costs, it needs to cover the variable cost, needs to cover all the variable costs that goes with that, like labor and all other aspects. And it's putting a lot of strain on municipalities because there's no other money that can be directed to that. Now, if I listen to the amount of water losses we have, I totally agree. There are a lot of technical losses that we can attend in municipalities, and better action needs to be taken on that. But it's a bit of an alignment that needs to take place, because National Treasury also give guidelines on how much money can be spent on labor and other aspects on that. So it's quite challenging to realign that. But if I look at the amount of liters that was spoken about by Rand Water per day, 280 liters per day, of which the average usage is 173. I wonder if we can just get a little bit more guidance on how the illegal mining and the non-technical losses are factored into that. All the people who use and that illegally tap from that system, how do we factor that in? Because I think it does have an impact for ward councillors where there's an assumption that 10,000 people, as by means of example, are utilizing a specific water line, but in the meantime, that's actually 100,000. And there's very good examples like that, I think, in the city of Tshwane. So I just want to understand that methodology. The second part, and this is more going to the side of an idea, I really don't see us solving this problem without human settlements sitting by the table as well. This is an issue that human settlements also needs to come. We need to align with them. A lot of the problems we know are people who don't have access to water, are settlements that needs to be formalized and that needs to be linked in. They're already getting water, they're just not following the correct process for that. So we need to join that cluster with that. The other point that I want us to consider, we've done very well over the last years. National government has given directives on how the pit toilet issues needed to be dealt with. And I think we really need a directive. Qualities must reduce water tankers. And they must factor that as well. And coming back to the cluster of human settlements and the water department. And then the last question I want to ask, and we've spoken about municipalities needing to maintain and deal with water leaks, but especially in the city of Tshwane, there's been numerous occasions where sinkholes has been caused by bulk Rand water line to deal with sinkholes. And we feel that pain in the city of Tshwane. Can there be some consideration from national government or from provincial government or from Rand Water to see how we can assist with those in those cases where that infrastructure has been damaged by Rand Water pipelines? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peter. Let's go this side, and I will stay this side until we are done. Go ahead, Councillor.
Hello, it's Malcolm de Klerk, Ward 101. Hello, CEO. Firstly, just congratulations and thank you personally from my side to you for your help and also taking all of my calls and messages and whatever else. Just a personal word of thank you for that. Social media. So I'm a millennial. I spend 12 hours a day on my phone helping my residents as a decent councillor should. Social media is important when it comes to information. And if Rand Water could just get a way of almost having more live data being shared on social media, that would help with misinformation, that will help with calming community tensions, and also ward councillors know exactly what's happening. There does tend to be a bit of a silo difference between Rand Water and municipalities. And through contacts, I've been able to get information quick so I can actually alleviate the tensions from a water outage. And Lynette has already asked it, but Vlakfontein 3, please, 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 please. It's crucial for the city of Tshwane, especially Pretoria East. We need that reservoir back online, or actually we need it online, full stop. I know it was tested, but what's happened to it? It would be a game changer for water outages. And I feel that we are too lax on water restrictions. We are in dire strait. I think what's not been said here is that we are very close to actually running out of water in the entirety of Gauteng. Day zero is here. And level 1 it's nice, but we need level 3, 4, 5. We need to be a bit more harsh. Because in the city, for instance, city of Tshwane, we need to reduce it by, I think you said about 80 million a month. We need to start to reduce it. And then also it falls upon the city to be also a bit more on law enforcement. But also, again, as my colleagues have said, we do need law enforcement to help law enforcement and get boots on the ground to help with that.
You are 2 minutes up.
Check mic 1, 2, 1, 2.
3, 4, go on.
Right, thank you very much. I am Councillor Debbie Williams-Moses from the city of Tshwane. Thank you for all of the information. Thank you because knowledge is power, but only one nation. As I am personally aware of a lady that is staying in Ward 43 Eersterus in Tshwane, who designed a machine by using a washing machine to recycle the water of the washing machine and turn it into grey water. For us to engage, mitigate all of our current water issues. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We would be happy to get that information. Can be further looked into as a province, but we would like to have that information. Let's go on to the second.
The issues that I would like to address firstly is in terms of communication and transparency of communication. Something that we picked up during the Rand Water Works last year that highly impacted Johannesburg is that Rand Water and Johannesburg Water are not singing from the same tune. I think one of the ways that we can try and combat that is for there to be transparency in communication, perhaps in the form of a dashboard very similar to what was used during day zero, so that everybody has the same information on what is going on, how close are we to a day zero, and what we can do to reduce our usage. That's the first thing. The second thing, there are not sufficient tanking facilities, and this is more towards local government level, once again on Joburg Water. We cannot have a situation whereby residents sit without water for over 48 hours before they see a water truck for the very first time. That's the second. Extended water outages lead to sewer blocks. That is something that we have picked up. It actually causes our water pump stations to pack up. And that is something that our local government structures need to look at in terms, once again, of infrastructure. Another thing I would like to just put out there, and that's forward thinking, is the fact that as we see our water issues becoming more, we're going to see more people drilling boreholes. What is being done currently to regulate that? Because I can tell you for free that at least half of the people who own boreholes in Johannesburg have not declared that to the minister, and that is something that does need to be audited. Another thing I would just like to mention, and this is now regarding, what we do in council and the decisions that we make in council and how we will be held accountable for that, councillors, is when we have councillors bringing resolutions to council to hold our entities to account for things that they should be doing in any case, things that do not cost money in the form of audits. Can we please not reject those resolutions in council and then come and sit here, Steel 1 and 2 being the obvious example, sit here and suddenly act surprised when we are being told that we are looming with a day zero. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor. Please proceed, Councillor.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lynn de Toy. I am a councillor in Mugali, Ward 21. First of all, just to thank everybody for this program, for everybody that is here, all the mayors, all the colleagues, all the ministers, and for the venue. I have a couple of points that I want to touch on, but most of them have been raised by my colleagues here that have spoken.
In 2 minutes, Councillor
Yes. I want to address the leaks from Rand Water in Mugali that we lose a lot was in particular. Also reservoirs that are standing empty that needs to be fixed so we can store water. When we have a water outage, the airlocks that come through that burst the pipes. The reuse of water is a major problem for me because our groundwater is being contaminated. I wish I could take you, I can show you photographs to where crops. Farms have closed down. People have lost their businesses because E. coli are being found on their crops down the Blaubankspruit. Also tankers dumping toilets, the chemical toilets and everything into a hole in the ground, and 50 meters later it's gushing out like a waterfall into the Blaubankspruit. Then popping out into people's backyards in Wentworth Park. And then the treatment plants, also a major problem because they are standing still, nothing is being done about them. The effluent is being pumped once again into the Blaubank River to fix, and nothing has happened about it.
Are you coming here?
Then also the other thing is our water meter project. The water meters were taken out and new ones put in. A lot of them is not functioning properly, so we're losing water there as well. Like I said, my colleagues raised all the other salient points, so thank you for that.
Thank you so very much, Councillor Lynn. And they say the best for last or last for best.
Thank you so much. My name is Councilor Fiza Chaim, and I am from the city of Johannesburg, Ward 57. Most of the colleagues that were speaking here, they have raised critical issues. My issue is also one of the zamazamas. I want to know what is going to be done with the zamazamas, because they're also using a whole lot of water as well. And as we all know, this is illegal. And then we've got all the trolley pushers as well. We notice that they actually take all their cardboards to